Hi, Mike Trout here, and I want to do a talk about this Jenga stack and explain it to you. Our planet is suffering, and for many of us who have done the research, who aren't living in with their head in a hole, realizes that our planet is in serious trouble. And I'm going to give you some statistics. We are in the current sixth great extinction, and you can think of all these missing blocks on here are species that have gone, right? And you have to think of, we live on a planet. It's one ecosystem. It's one game of Jenga blocks. That's it. It's one game of Jenga blocks. And we have a system that, because of the Industrial Revolution, and they had to get folks to invest in steam engines and in factories and everything else, and they came up with this clever investment vehicle called CAGR, which stands for Compounded Annual Growth Rate, which basically states that if you invest money, it's going to compound, it's going to compound, it's going to compound, right? As returns come in, as things grow, and when you grow something, it has to take from something else, and that's the missing blocks. So at the time of the Industrial Revolution, this would have been a nice, like a brand new game of Jenga. It would look pristine. And the idea that you could lose any of these blocks would have been absurd. What do you mean? Yeah, like we can collapse our oceans. Yeah, like we can cut down all our trees or eat all our fish or transfer disease from salmon in Europe to salmon in Canada, right? Influenza and everything else. Oh, there's no way we could eat all the carp out of the ocean, and on and on and on and on and on. Oh, we cannot kill the coral reefs. Like, the idea that 50% of the Great Barrier Reef dying in a single year, which happened, by the way, is impossible. Well, wake up, people. It's happening. And I want to explain to you that all of these things are outcomes of an endemically flawed system, right? Endemically flawed. Another word for endemic is inherent, okay? And to put that into perspective, imagine if I had a knife and I sliced your sidewall of your tire. That's an inherently flawed or problem, okay? It can't be fixed. A systemic problem can be fixed, but because our whole global economy and everything else is based on CAGR, and the moment you pull this block out, so does the New York Stock Exchange, or the exchanges collapse and everything else, and our whole society system collapses. Now, this is a little misnomer, because if we could do that, then we would save the planet, but no one's going to collapse and stop our whole business model, because that's just insane, because everyone wants to live, and they want to go to stores and they want to buy stuff and everything else. However, the opportunity is to drive valuation differently. Currently, valuation is based on something called ROI, return on investment. So growth. You always hear about this compounded annual growth rate. We need a 5% per year growth. You hear the politicians talking all the time. They're trying to get growth in their states, growth in their cities, because this engine at the base of this entire block is consuming everything above it. And in the process of consuming it, it's causing this great collapse. So how do we fix it? Well, it's simple. We can base valuation on, because of the blockchain is programmable, so we can program a new economic model based on CAGR, or proof of benefit. So the algorithm looks at the activity that you're doing, and it bases the valuation on how it's healing. So is this thing restoring our oceans? Is this thing restoring our forests? Is this thing impacting climate change, right, in a positive way? Is this thing, doing more good than harm? That's the crucial thing, all right? Because ultimately, initiatives built on CAGR must have a greater positive than a negative. And there is no corporation on this planet, save nonprofits, that are doing that. And that's why found ups become danos. Okay, decentralized, um, autonomous, nonprofit organizations. And understand the nonprofits we have today are broken. I know this. I have a master's degree. I used to work for one of the we call them the Marines for fundraising, and I know how they work. And unfortunately, they require all these large organizations to sustain themselves. So we can change that. We can change the whole nonprofit model, and we can make them something that doesn't need a board of directors, doesn't have employees. They can all work basically on volunteers that are funded by the blockchain. So imagine that. You volunteer, you do the things that you're passionate about, planting trees, cleaning up beaches and everything else. And ultimately the blockchain built on CAGR is funding these activities because they are found ups. So I hope this talk, gets your interest. I want you to think about this talk, think about this fact that this one chain, this one block, right? It's kind of like that one thread. If I pull the thread, the whole thing unravels. This is the same thing. We pull this block out, everything unravels. However, we can change it. And right now, for the most part, 99% of all ICOs and everything else be built on the blockchain are built on this whole data compounded annual growth rate, these investors wanting tokens to go up and everything else. Found ups don't have ICOs, so to speak. They're very different, and we use an event called Found Ups Fest to fund these projects. And imagine we build this Lollapalooza of events that will take place in this most amazing place in the Alps of Japan every year. It's going to next year. It's going to happen in 2 months. The following year, it will happen in 6 months. There'll be 6 months of this festival, ongoing all year round. So you can pick your time to come. There'll be each segment will be 1 month long, and in 1 month we'll be launching Found Ups, and ultimately starting to build the CAGR blockchain. Blockchains that will be forked from us. There'll be many versions of this of the CAGR blockchain, and ultimately the ones that do the best and solve the most problems and provide the most returns. We will see hedge funds created just to support CAGR. We have a lot of decentralized crypto funds are developed to fund the whole CAGR and Found Ups initiative. Until that point, we start launching our billion-dollar nanos that are replacing Coca-Cola, replacing Google, replacing Facebook, replacing Uber, replacing all of these unsustainable business models. Imagine a Coca-Cola or our Coke, Found Ups Coke product that is healthy, that is beneficial, that ultimately then is funding projects to clean up the beach, funding projects in putting more money into those projects, right? Than than any corporation is right now in existence. Think about it. The tipping point of no return is coming, and I hope the timing of the blockchain is here where we can make this change. My name is Mike Trout. I'm the founder of Found Ups. Found Ups are ideas that solves problems that level up into Danos. They're decentralized, autonomous, nonprofit organizations, and they're funded by a number of vehicles, the first being Found Up Fest, a Burning Man for blockchain, for saving our planet. Thanks.